There's not a single human society that fails to train its members from childhood in the rule for reciprocation. And if we can increase the odds of success by including one or another of these principles honestly, ethically, we will outpace our rivals every time. People are very willing to the extent that what we have available to them is scarce, rare, or dwindling in availability. We need to find those voices and include them as testimonials in any messaging that we use. And the key is, what I claim is that there are 7 universal principles of influence that are part of the human condition, and that if we include one or another of these principles in a communication, we significantly increase the probability of assent to our message, to our request, our proposal, our recommendation. And notice the word probability there. There are no certainties in human behavior, but there are probabilities. And if we can increase the odds of success by including one or another of these principles honestly, ethically, we will outpace our rivals every time. So the principles are, we can start out with one of the most fundamental that exists in all human cultures. There's not a single human society that fails to train its members from childhood in the rule for reciprocation that says, I am obligated to give back to you what you have first given to me. If you invite me to a party, I should invite you to one of mine. You remember my birthday with a gift, I should remember yours. And here's the key. If you do me a favor, I owe you a favor. And very simply, people say yes to those they owe. So the implication is we need to give benefits and advantages and important or useful information first, before the exchange. That will cause people to feel grateful to us for that, and they will want to do that the same for us when we are in need of one or another of those factors. I always say, if you go into a room for the first time, let's say you're in a sales situation, there are a number of people there, or you're a first timer in an organization, don't look around the room and say, who can help me most here? Ask, whom can I most help here? Who can I be most supportive of? Or who can I resource in such a way that their outcomes will be better? You will have an advocate in that room for whatever happens subsequently, right? So it just tells us, if we go first, people are ready to want to say yes to us because they've received and they want to give back. So that's the principle of reciprocity. Another one, here's one nobody would be surprised by, the principle of liking. We prefer to say yes to those people who we like and who like us, who approve of us. And we can do that by pointing out similarities between ourselves and the people around us who we want to convince. People like those who are like them. And if we can point to genuine similarities, we build a rapport with that person. The same is true of compliments, genuine, warranted praise we can give. If we do that, we build rapport. And if we show approval. Here's a study that I love that shows how this works online. How can you get liking if you're somebody who has a commercial website and you've never met people? You don't have any contact with them. They're not familiar with you. They don't know you. It turns out there was a study done of 6,700 online commercial sites. If you include a welcoming statement on the landing page of your website, you get significantly more conversion. before they read one word of what you have to offer. It's not that you've changed the features of your offer. You've changed the way people are approaching those features with a sense of approval. And isn't it true that you do welcome, you want to welcome people to your website? Why would you hide that? Put that on your landing page. It's the first thing that people see. There's warmth that's exchanged as a consequence, and you're more likely to begin a positive relationship. Another principle is the principle of social proof. The idea that we will be better off if we follow the lead of multiple comparable others. If we check to see what a lot of people in our situation, like us, are doing in that situation. It's the wisdom of the crowd that has been shown to be very effective in multiple situations. So simply informing people of what your most popular item is, or the most popular payment plan, for that matter, for any exchange with you, and let them know that that's the case. It lets them choose well, because a lot of people like them have been doing that. There was a brewery that had a pub in its basement, and visitors could go there. And they put up a sign, honestly, this week, the most popular choice of our visitors was our stout beer. It doubled stout purchases. To just bring something honestly to consciousness of the people, it gave them a reason why. When I go to a restaurant and I'm thinking, should I have dessert or not tonight? And the waiter comes with the dessert menu. If on the menu, and there was a study done in Beijing, shows you the cross-cultural reach of this. If on the menu there's an asterisk next to one or two of the items that says, this is our most popular dessert, I get it. I have a reason for buying dessert now that I didn't have before, and it was honest. And then the next principle is similar in this sense. It's the principle of authority. Another thing we do, another place we look when we're uncertain, is to the opinions of genuinely acknowledged experts in a particular arena. So when there are experts who have opinions that fit with what it is that we are offering or what it is that we are suggesting, we need to find those voices and include them as testimonials in any messaging that we use. And the key is, I'm going to say two things. One is, how can you increase the impact of an expert voice? Multiply it. Find two experts who are saying that what you have or your idea is a good thing, and you multiply the impact as a result. The second thing about it is, in your presentation, especially if it's an online presentation, put those testimonials first. Don't put them in the body of your message or down lower at the end. First, so that that expert authority is there from the outset, so people are believing everything you say from the outset with the aura of authority on your side. Next principle is the principle of scarcity. People want more of those things they can have less of. So people are very willing to move in our direction to the extent that what we have available to them is scarce, rare, or dwindling in availability. There was a study done of 6,700 online commercial sites, and in terms of A/B tests that were done on those sites, and which features of an appeal were most likely to turn a person from a prospect into a convert, get a conversion to customer. Scarcity was at the top. If you had a limited number of items at a particular price or a limited time in which to move to get that item, that's what most produced yes from people. Once again, you get them off the sidelines into the game by giving them a reason for moving. In this case, it was, if you don't, you might lose this valuable thing. And as a consequence, scarcity really has big advantages. By the way, they found that of the two kinds of scarcity, limited number or limited time to get some offer, limited number of items at a particular price, for example, outstrip limited time. Why? Because if there's a limited number, competition now enters the psychological environment. You mean if I don't, these other people might get it with a limited time? No, you can go whenever you want in there. Oh, I don't have to do it right now. And as a consequence, a lot of people forget to do it or never do it within that time. They never purchase what you have to offer. But limited number with other people in the mix, the top of all of the A/B tests. And then the sixth principle is commitment and consistency. The idea that people want to be consistent with what they have already done, said or done in your presence. So if you can get people to take a small step in your direction, now they will want to be consistent with that in the future. Oh, there's a great story from an acquaintance of mine about how he's gotten 3 better jobs in a row in job interviews. So in the interview, you typically go in, there's some evaluator, sometimes a team of evaluators, and what you're supposed to say is, I'm very glad to be here, that you invited me today, and I want to answer all your questions. He adds one more thing. He says, but before we begin, I'm curious, why did you invite me today? What was it about my background or resume that made you think I would be a good candidate? And now he says he hears people say all kinds of positive things about him before the interview begins. And he learns what it is that they thought was the most important for them, so he can build on that when it's his turn. But in the meantime, now people want to be consistent with what they have already said. And he said 3 straight better jobs in a row, right? And he said in some instances, you actually get people arguing with one another as to which feature of him is better. It was his background, or it's his training, or it's his scores on some test, or his fit with the organization's value system. Whatever it is, they argue with one another as to which is the strongest. And then finally is the 7th principle of influence, which I've added when I've recognized the power of what we call unity. That is the idea that we share with other people an identity, some kind of social identity, to the extent that if we communicate that shared identity, they consider us one of them. Not like them, one of them, So there was a study done on a college campus. Researchers took a young woman, college-age woman, who they placed at a busy intersection of paths on campus, a lot of students walking by. When a student walked by, she asked them if they would contribute to the United Way. And she was getting some donations. But if she added one more sentence, she increased donations by 250%. The sentence was, I'm a student here too. Now they're being asked by one of them. And inside the boundaries of those in groups, those what I'm calling we groups, all barriers to influence come down. We trust those people more. we believe them more, we want to cooperate with them more, and bottom line, we say yes to them more. And that was the case in this instance.